Welcome to the latest Lamborghini supercar. It's called the Temerario and it's the successor to the much-loved Huracan that goes out of production in 2024 and sadly takes the naturally aspirated V10 engine with it.
Okay, so RIP to the V10, and when I tell you that they've replaced it with a plug-in hybrid, then that might not inspire much confidence. But hold on, because this is Lamborghini and they do plug-in hybrids like few others. Just take a listen to this.
Well, that wasn't quite as convincing as I was expecting it to be. I understand it's still a work in progress, but it's missing that raw edge and the intake sound that we've come to expect from Lamborghinis. Of course, it's a new engine to replace the V10, more specifically a 4-litre twin-turbocharged V8 that develops over 900 brake horsepower and revs to 10,000 RPM. That's far more than any of its rivals and makes it one of the highest revving hybrid production cars on sale today. Its supercar powertrain credentials are plain to see, and indeed Lamborghini has hinted at plug-in hybrid being seen as a permanent solution rather than merely a stepping stone to full EV.
So the layout for the Temerario is as follows. You've got a 4-litre twin-turbocharged V8 in the middle. There's then an axial flux electric motor between that and the 8-speed transverse-mounted DCT gearbox, and then there's an extra 2 axial flux motors on the front axle, which makes it all-wheel drive.
On its own, the V8 delivers 789 brake horsepower, but in combination with the electric motors, total power is 907 brake horsepower from 9,000 to 9,750 RPM. That means 0 to 62 miles an hour in 2.7 seconds, 0 to 125 miles an hour in 7.3, and a top speed of 213 miles an hour. I mean, think about how this compares with the Huracan that launched with around 600 brake horsepower, and the Gallardo before that, which was around 500 brake horsepower. It's only then that you start to understand just how much of a step up, at least power-wise, the Temerario is. Like the Revuelto, the 3.8 kilowatt-hour battery is there to boost performance rather than help with efficiency, even if it does bring the CO2 emissions down by 50% compared with the Huracan. Lamborghini hasn't confirmed the all-electric range, but it'll probably be around 9 miles, although it does say that charging time is 30 minutes with a 7 kilowatt charger or just 6 minutes from the engine itself. The front axle on the Temerario is driven solely by electricity, and this allows electric torque vectoring through all 4 wheels, which should improve agility. The E-axle at the front and rear electric motor contribute to deceleration in an effort to reduce the stress on the brakes, while also recharging the battery.
Okay, so that's the powertrain. What about everything else? Well, the Temerario uses an all-aluminium space frame, which is different to the one on the Huracan, and it increases torsional rigidity over that car by 24%. When it comes to weight, they've said that the car weighs in at about 1,690 kilograms dry with the lightweight package, and then a little bit more without the lightweight package. So it is more than the Huracan, but it's also significantly less than the Revuelto, and with all the plug-in hybrid and the all-wheel drive, I don't think that's too bad. They've also focused on aerodynamics, and there's 3 key pillars to that. So you've got braking efficiency, high-speed stability, and cooling performance, and that's been increased by 30% over the Huracan. And there's some really nice details associated with all of that because, for example, the lights, they've got their own air intakes and deflectors which help channel air from the front end to the side radiators, and also the mirrors. They're not just incredibly aerodynamic, so they don't create much drag, they also help to deflect the air into those side radiators as well, which obviously improves cooling. So that's all very nice. I'm just going to mention the wheels and the tyres actually, because you've got Bridgestone Potenza Sport tyres as standard. You can also get Bridgestone Potenza race tyres. The rear wheels 21 inches, the front 20 inches, and then the brake calipers are really impressive. You've got 10 pot at the front and then 4 pot at the rear, so the braking performance, even if it is a bit heavier than the Huracan, should be formidable. Move further down the car, we can see the channel in the roof, and that helps channel air all the way back to the spoiler, and that increases high-speed stability. And there's also the design of the engine cover here has been designed to help with that. And the downforce at the rear end, it's up over 100% over the Huracan, 100%, so they've pretty much doubled the downforce. And then if you get the lightweight aero package, that goes up to over 150% increase. So really big changes in the downforce, and it should mean that the rear end is absolutely pinned down. Now, as for the overall styling of the car, I mean, you can see it, you don't need me to tell you about it, but from where I'm standing, it's probably one of the most dramatic looking Lamborghinis in years. The front end is cool, the rear end, especially with these cutouts here around the wheels and the huge diffuser, something else entirely. Let me know what you think in the comments.
What you can't see on the Temerario though is the vortex generators on the underside of the car. 3 pairs of fins arranged like the branches of a tree increase the rear aero load and help the rear diffuser maximise the vertical extraction of airflow. Also, that diffuser has a surface area 70% larger than it did on the Huracan Evo. I also mentioned the braking efficiency. On the front, there's a clever piece of design where the airflow from the front diffuser is directed towards the brake caliper, and this increases disc cooling by 50% and caliper cooling by 20%. What's also impressive is that the Temerario can come to a halt from 62 miles an hour in just 32 meters, which is only 1 meter further than the far lighter Huracan Performante. Climb inside the Temerario and you're treated to Lamborghini's feel like a pilot design philosophy. This means you sit very low, the dashboard is slim and sculpted, and the steering wheel is served up to you at the perfect angle.
Now, since the Revuelto, it genuinely feels like Lamborghini has taken more care and put more effort into making its cabins feel not just special, but also usable, because previously it was very much the supercar interior in that there was some good drama going on and it felt pretty special, but there were some clear usability issues. I don't think that's going to be the case in here. There is far more space than there was in the Huracan, yet the design is still very attractive and it genuinely feels like you are in a supercar. And I'll give you an example of how that usability is increased, because you can have 18-way adjustable seats with heating and cooling. You can get optional carbon seats, but yeah, 18-way adjustable seats in a Lamborghini supercar. You didn't think you'd be hearing about that. You've also got Corsatex microfiber dotted throughout the cabin, which feels really nice. There's options to have carbon pretty much everywhere you want. Carbon is a big theme with this car. There's the hexagonal design theme as well, which you'll see on the vents, you'll see it on the lights, it's on the controls. It's absolutely everywhere. They love their hexagons with the latest Lamborghini design language. Check out the start-stop button. You lift up the red cover, you press the start button there. Okay, that's been around for a few years now, but it still feels pretty special. It's a really nice detail. I've got to say, the graphics on the various screens are also worth a mention because, yeah, they've been taken from the Revuelto, but it's worth emphasizing that they are unique to Lamborghini. You won't see anything from Audi here, although I have noticed that the cruise control switch definitely is from Audi, but apart from that, it looks all unique to me. But the graphics are really impressive. They're really crisp. There's a wide variety of them. There's plenty of designs of the car, and it genuinely looks like something you would expect to see in a supercar. Quite a lot of the time you can get infotainment systems on supercars which look quite mundane and boring compared to the rest of it, but this, yeah, it feels like a Lamborghini computer system if there ever was one. Speaking of screens, there's 3 of them in here. So there's an 8.4-inch central infotainment screen, which is obviously vertical. There's a 12.3-inch horizontal digital dashboard display. And for the first time in a baby Lamborghini supercar, you've got a 9.1-inch passenger information display. So for the person that's riding shotgun, they can see things like the speed, they can see the sat nav, the driving mode, all sorts of information, and it's on a little screen in front of them there, which is a really neat touch, I think. I also want to talk about the steering wheel because it's an awesome bit of design. It feels lovely in your hands. You've got proper tactile carbon gear levers. They've got a really nice click to them. And also there's actual physical buttons on the steering wheel. It's not like the Ferrari 296 where it's touch controls that really don't work very well. This is actual physical buttons, and it allows you to change things like the drive mode. So you've got Cheetah, Strada, Sport, Corsa and Corsa Plus, which is the most extreme drive mode. You've also got the powertrain modes, and there's 3 different powertrain modes, so you can recharge it or put it in hybrid or performance. And there's also the drift mode switch as well, which has got a lovely little image of a car drifting, which is really cool. But the most important thing is that you can use them easily. They feel really nice, and there's no kind of looking at the steering wheel and stabbing around. You know exactly what everything does, which is crucial. Just for me, the combination of it feeling special in here, but you're not having to compromise by feeling uncomfortable or not having enough space or having a poor control system, at least sitting in here as a static car, that is really, really crucial. And I think it's one of the ways that Lamborghini has come on leaps and bounds in the last few years. So this is a continuation of that. I think this interior is absolutely fantastic.
The Temerario also has a new LaVu, or Lamborghini Vision Unit system, that features 3 onboard cameras and a data logging system. As a result, users can watch back on-track telemetry using the 2 front-facing cameras and Lamborghini Telemetry 2.0, or even film their reactions to the 907 brake horsepower V8 with a rearward-facing camera. Naturally, it also doubles up as a dashcam for everyday driving. Overall, the new Temerario looks deeply impressive. The cabin is a significant step up, the exterior styling is suitably dramatic, and the performance figures promise huge gains over the Huracan. However, it does feel like an altogether more serious car than its predecessor. Of course, the powertrain and the sound, which I'm yet to be convinced by, plays a part in that, but my only concern is that Lamborghinis are supposed to be supercars with a sense of humour, and indeed on this car we've seen bits that suggest it will have that, but also other bits that maybe put it into question. And I guess we'll find out whether this is the case when we get to drive the Temerario in 2025.